Hey, what's up guys? Scythe here with another guide for Star Wars The Old Republic. Today I'm going to be showing you kind of like a refined how I play setup for rotation talents for my pyrotech mercenary spec. This will also work, the basic fundamentals will work for a power tech. Of course you have some different flame blast to reset and some different things like that. So basically this is generally for a mercenary, but you may get some usefulness out of power tech for it too. But I have a standard rotation guide, basically that is like the locked in rotation if you're PvEing or in front of a dummy and you're just going through the rotation. But this is really a modified version, what I like to use. You may not like exactly how I'm going to explain it or exactly how I play, but everybody has their own play style, and this may be useful for you, or you may like that old, just stand still type of rotation and not really a priority system. But I'm basically running the basic setup for Pyrotech 3173. I do get the extra point in here to reduce the power shot, just because you can't really, that's a priority basically, because it can reset your rail shot from 30 meters. That's one thing Mercenary has up on Power Techs, is we can get all our resets from far range. We don't have to be in melee range. So we do avoid a lot of CCs, self-heals, cleansing. You get the picture. Some more tech critical chance there, 3 points in bodyguard. So basically the standard tree, if you want to pause it and look at this. I will link the old guide somewhere in this video, and if you're looking for more of that standard rotation, you can click on the link. I'll put that somewhere on the screen. But yeah, this is kind of my personal setup for PvP and how I basically use the priority system. So really, anytime I'm engaging a target, I always start with my thermal. That's normally, depending on your gear, and normally I get around a 3600 crit on it, maybe higher sometimes. Sometimes you get the standard damage. It still hits pretty well, and it's got a cooldown, so you definitely want to get that up on your target so the cooldown is coming back around as fast as possible. Try to avoid using this on people that are low on health, because a lot of times you won't get the full damage, or they'll die and then it'll detonate afterwards. Rail shot is your biggest priority. With the armor pin and your talent trees and the other stuff, this hits extremely hard. So you definitely definitely want to constantly be resetting this cooldown, using it as much as you can. Your target does have to be burning. I'll get to that in a minute. You have your auto fire, basically, which will put a dot up also, which is very important. It also snares the target, so that's definitely, rapid shots is definitely the way to go. I run the, of course, the combustion cylinder, so you get that dot and the extra snare. So basically you have these two are main priorities, and then you have unload, which unload has a percentage chance to basically reset your rail shot. So you're definitely going to want to use your unload to reset your rail shot. I'm actually looking for that reset chance. Here we go. Power shot has a 45% chance, and unload has a 75% chance. So basically, unload is your main priority, because there's a 75% chance. Your power shot is a little bit less. So a lot of times, I'll show a clip after this guide, and it'll show you me using power shot. You have to be conservative with it though, because a lot of times it will not go off. So just be watching out for your other, it won't reset. Because of the low percentage. So be watching your other cooldowns, and don't waste a lot of time power shotting. Really, in my rotation, I'll do it one time before my thermal is back up. Because really, your thermal, rail shot, unload, back to rail shot most of the time, because 75% chance. And then normally I'll get in maybe one power shot and maybe one auto attack before my thermal is back up. But of course, if you're on the move a lot and you don't have time to get that reset, you're going to be wanting to spam rapid shots. So yeah, like I said, you may not play like this, but this is basically the priority I use. Thermal detonator, rail shot, reset The first reset I always use is unload, just because of 75% chance. Then I use my power shot. Of course, if I'm stationary, but if I'm getting blown up or someone's attacking me, I will definitely rapid shots, get a dot up on them, snare them, start kiting them. So you don't want to stand there like a dummy and someone's attacking you and just continue to power shot. You definitely want to rapid shots. That's why it's on the top 5 for priorities, just because of snare and utility and the dot. Again, rail shot requires a dot on the target. So if your target's not dot or stunned, you're going to need a dot on them, but you can rapid shot and you may get lucky and it'll get right on the target. But this is what I call the second line of priorities. You have your incendiary missile. It's good to put this up on most targets, but the other thing you have to realize is healers, different other classes. A lot of times in rated PvP, this is useless because healers are so good with cleansing dots; they remove it instantly. So you know, definitely you want to have this up on your target if it's a long battle. So that's really your next wave of priorities, basically. Then basically I use my jet boost. That's really a defensive priority if someone's attacking you. And really your power surge and your sensor can be used differently in several different ways. You can use them combinations. You can use it to have a, basically your thermal, not cost heat. This is really player preference, how you want to use these. You can use them double together when you're really overheated, you need a heal. You can use it to use your power shot. You'll see in the video I throw them in. It's really situational how I use them and what ability I use them on, but they're definitely in that second level of priority. And of course, get out of your incapacitating and movement impairing effects. That's definitely in your second wave of priority. So again, you can get this up on most targets during their lifespan, but that's why I don't have it in the first round of priorities, just because of the ability for it to be cleansed, and it's not very reliable. But if you need to get off a rail shot and you can't get a rapid shot to proc, it's definitely an option. Go ahead and use it, get it on the target, rail shot. As you'll see on most targets, I have this up on them. They either it's ideal to get this up on a target at the beginning of its life. Don't waste it towards the end. Just like I was saying with this, if you throw that up when they're quarter life, it's not going to do you any good. The same thing with this. It's an 18-second dot. So basically, if it's a full life target or half life target, throw this up. If the guy is half life, other than putting a dot on them to rail shot, it's really a waste. So if they already have a dots on them, or you have a rapid shot dot on them, it's not very. That's why it goes to your second wing of priority. And a lot of people may argue about that, but for me personally, it goes to the second wave of priorities, just because of being able to be cleansed, and it's basically useless after half because you're not going to get the full dot damage out of them. And then you have all your situational abilities, of course. You have your max health over 10 seconds. You have reduce all damage by 25%. I have these hotkeyed. A lot of times when I get to half health, you'll see me, I'll pop both of them. If I'm low on health, or if I, going into a hot situation, I'll just pop one. Very situational, player preferences. Of course, you're stunned. You can use this defensive or offense. Say healers in the open, and you want to put some good damage on him, you can stun him, or melee's attacking you, you stun him. But that's really third round priorities. Then we have a bunch of AoE situational stuff. So we have Death from Above, of course, which it's really, if there's people clumped up, use it, get that cooldown to come back around, and definitely so you could constantly keep using it. But it's definitely a third priority. Your main damage is coming from this line. Your a little bit of dot pressure and a little bit of resources from this. Then your AoE and all this should be, basically next. And really, I would kind of move Dart, now that I'm thinking about this, to your secondaries. These two are really secondary, situational, or thirdary. And then, of course, you have your fusion missile. A lot of people don't use this. And it's definitely, if you get off a big AoE and people are still clumped up, use some cooldowns. Get this thing off. Normally I like to at least use sensor on it, just because it costs 33 heat, and that's a lot. So definitely use a cooldown, insta-cast, whatever you want to do. And of course, if you're playing a hut ball or something where everybody's going to be clumped up on the ball carrier, don't forget about explosive dart, because this is AoE up to 3 neighborly enemies, and thermal detonator is not. So it does do less damage, but if there's a lot of group of people, substitute these in and out, and you'll get more damage just by using that, and filling it into your rotation. So this is basically my setup, how I play. I probably missed some stuff and didn't explain something right, but I will do a more refined guide later with more detailed tool tips. I just wanted to show you guys this and kind of show you my priority system, how I use it. And of course I missed a few things like stealth scan and your in combat res and all this stuff. But you kind of get the picture. Cleansing, I've gone over this before about cleansing and dots, and if you'd like more information about deeper stuff like that, I have other videos that go into one-on-one about cleansing dots and how to use your heals. But this is basically a damage guide showing you the priorities. So we're going to see a little demonstration on a Void Star I did. I think I did like 16K or something like that. So here we go. Alright guys, here is a Void Star. I actually started playing the first round. I wasn't planning on recording, and I did so well, got 300k really fast in the first round, so I decided to record the second round and couldn't pick really a better video to show as far as my rotation or priority system that I use. But basically going into unload there, getting off a rail shot. Like I was saying, rail shot and thermal detonator are basically your main priorities. Thermal does a massive spike. It has a decent cooldown. So you want to use that as much as possible, like with your rail shot too. Going into a power shot there, going for the reset on my rail shot. Didn't get it. Like I was saying a minute ago, you definitely unload you would want to use that before your power shot, just because the fact it's a 75% chance, so you're going to get it most of the time. So if that unload is available for your resets, definitely use it. Go ahead and let that unload fully tick too. It does plenty of damage. You're not going to be hurting your DPS that bad letting that unload completely finish the cast. I mean, but of course if you get someone's in your face, you just can't, sometimes you can't stand there and take it. Most of everything with this priority system is situational and can change on the fly. The good thing about using a priority system instead of just I use this ability, then this, then this, then this, then this. With a priority system, you're using basically your two main attacks on cooldown and when you can get resets. But if something gets out of whack that you have to move, you have to run, you're not going to be like, oh, where did I leave off in my rotation? I'm screwed. So a priority, it's really simple to adapt to what kind of gameplay is going on, and do I need to throw in more rapid shots because I'm running a lot more. It definitely is the way to go. There's not really a rotation that you're going to be able to follow with this class that is really going to be that effective. Now PvE on the other hand, as far as heat management, you're going to be able to manage it a lot better sticking to a flat out rotation, but for PvP, priority system, the way to go. Death from above in there, getting a nice AoE. Into a fusion missile. I like to use this when people are clumped up just to get that extra damage, spread that dot damage. Went into a power shot, or a rail shot there. Into an unload for another reset. Getting some really nice spike damage. That's the one thing that mercenaries really have up on pyrotech, is we can do all our resetting, all our damage from 30-meter range and not have to be in melee. We don't get picked on as much. So over time, I'm really starting to like mercenary a lot better, just for the fact I've been playing a power tech, just trying them out low levels. I'm really noticing that you get picked on a lot more. You do have the option to do a little bit more spike damage than mercenary, but there's pros and cons of both specs. And if anybody tells you otherwise, they really haven't really tried mercenary out a lot. or just gave up on it. I know a lot of people that just gave up on this class as soon as they nerfed tracer missile and that spec was gone. They didn't want to adapt. They thought pyrotech was better all around with utility. They do have more utility than us, but we can also cleanse our own dots, throw some self-healing. We have some stuff that makes us viable even in rated war zones. And the 30-meter resetting, I think it's a lot more effective. You'll never win a one-on-one battle with a pyrotech just because they have that extra spike. But the 30-meter range, you'll do, genuinely, more damage than a pyrotech if you don't get picked on a lot, just because you can get all your resets from a distance. Another rail shot. Tried to get a death from above right there. I don't know what I was really thinking. I was going to get raped either way. I got destroyed there. We had a pretty good hold here. They did get through that door. So it wasn't perfect, but I like defending the second area a lot better anyway. But yeah, if you simplify your spec, you're gonna have especially running a priority system and not try a detailed rotation. If you simplify it down to just concentrating on resetting your rail shot and thermals, you're gonna do way more damage overall. And then add in the little pieces as you go. So if you're really having trouble with mercenary pyrotech right now, definitely just cut. Even if you have to take abilities off your toolbar. Just do anything it takes to get the basics down with resets and thermals, and then start adding in your other abilities like situational stuff like death from above, fusion missile, your shields, your all that stuff. If you're having really trouble with that, I definitely recommend you simplifying this down a little bit, because it's not that complicated at the core. It just has a lot of extra like DPS utility. It's not really utility, but it's kind of your damage utilities. Not costing any heat, insta cast, and you'll figure out eventually how to work those in your rotation. If there's a group of people, you may want to use your instant cast on fusion missile to get a nice dot AoE on them, or you may want to use it for power shot. I'm starting to do that more often just because I want that instant rail shot reset. So it's all how you want to use your cooldowns, and this priority system, definitely recommend doing this over flat rotation. So I hope this guide has helped you guys out a little bit with making your priority system a little bit more solid. Like I said, concentrate on those thermals on cooldown. Unloads power shots. Unload would be first priority. Power shot would be second priority. Get those rail shots reset as much as possible. Like I said in the first clip, incinerator missile, if I don't have a dot on the target from my rapid shots, I'll throw that up there to get a rail shot, or if the target's at full life. If they're at half life, incinerator missile, you're talking 18 seconds, you're not going to get the full damage efficiency out of that, and it's not going to be heat efficient. So that's just something to keep in mind with that dot. If they're not at full life, or they're getting spiked down fast, don't waste your heat on them. But other than that, that's really going to do it for the priority system of Pyrotech Merc. I'm going to do a more complicated version of a guide for Mercenary that covers more detail than just their DPSing, at a later date. So I guess I will talk to you guys later. And if you have any questions, leave it in the comments. If you like the guide, of course. If you'd like to see other kind of gameplay or different guides, more detailed information about a certain area of Mercenary, more than willing to help you guys out. So just let me know if you have any questions, and I'll try and do my best to talk to you guys. You can also get me in game. I'm on Prophecy of the Five. If I'm not in a war zone, I'll get back to you. If I'm in a war zone, I'll do my best to try to find your whisper and get back to you. So I will talk to you guys later.